Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? First off, we are in the most beautiful space I think we've ever been in.
Truly.
So we have Iman here, and we are so lucky to get this time with her because she has told us multiple times this really scares her.
Yes.
And she never does things like this, so we're honored that you are doing this with us. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
But we want to start off this episode, like every episode, with our first memory of Iman. And to me, it's like genuinely one of the most special things because I did not know this kind of like kindness existed, genuinely. But when Maya and I first launched Moom in Malaysia, January 2024, we did an event at FLA.
Oh my God.
And it was a pop-up event. And we did an event there. And we had just met Iman's very good friend, Asma, who had said, I'm going to come by and like say hi and I want to meet you. Everybody knows who Asma is.
Like
So we
maybe
were, like,
bring a friend.
amazing. And
or
like,
two.
she's like, I want to bring a friend. And I was like, cool, perfect, yay. So Asma comes, she comes alone and she was like, oh, my friend couldn't make it. And she never said who it was. She was just like, my friend couldn't make it. And I was like, no worries. Maybe an hour and a half goes by and someone runs into the store, this like very chic lady in beautiful clothes, just like runs in and she's like with these two big gift bags. And she's like, I just wanted to leave this for you guys. I'm Iman from Petit Moi. And I was like, well, I know who you are. But we were like, oh, thank you so much. And she was like, my friend Asma told me about this event and I wanted to come by and drop off these goodie bags. And your car was literally outside because your kids were in the car.
Yeah, and you like ran in,
and you
dropped
were, like,
things off, gave us the biggest hug ever.
Like had a very quick chat and you ran out. And we were like, wow.
That was the nicest thing.
Exactly. And then we fell in love with Malaysia.
Yeah. It really was like this introduction to the type of kindness you see in Malaysia.
Exactly.
Actually, I think it's very rare to have that. And I think you exude that so much.
And the support that other founders in Malaysia, especially Maya and I talk about this all the time, give each other. It's like truly unparalleled. So that's our
impression of
our
you.
impression
Hopefully
of you.
it was good
Hopefully
for
you
us.
also felt we were kind and lovely.
I mean, I do. And that's part of the reason why I feel like as much as I'm scared to do this, I still feel like, okay, I can do it. It's because it's with you guys. But I remember coming to Singapore and we did a collab where we did this.
The moonwalk.
Yes, the moonwalk, which we didn't get to walk because it was raining. But we walked it out to the cafe for breakfast. And meeting you at the door, I remember you were wearing a pair of Adidas Sambas. And it was the shoes that I really wanted at that point in time. And I was like, Mili, what size do you wear?
And I literally was like, here, take my shoe.
Yeah. So yeah, I think ever since then, it was... the total comfort, no more awkwardness. I've tried your shoes.
Exactly. You can't get much closer than that.
Exactly.
You've walked a day in the life. You stepped into each
I
other's
literally
shoes.
walked it out in your shoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and with Maya, I've seen you a couple of times ever since then. But the one memory that always hit me is when you guys did an event recently for like the founders at Olia.
Yes.
And then we were talking about books. Yeah. And then you said that you're reading this new fantasy series. And I said, oh, I have that book, but I couldn't really get into it.
Yeah.
And then you said, just give it a try.
Yeah.
Because it gets really good. I think you were in book 2 or you're going into book 3 at that time. I had a trip after that and I brought that book with me and we were on the plane and it was quite a long journey. And I decided, okay, let's just give it a try again. Like Maya vouched for it. Yeah. And then I loved it. And like throughout the whole trip, I just downloaded everything on my Kindle, like, because I think they have 4 or 5 books out now. Yeah. And just finished the whole series. And I'm obsessed until now. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like reading.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. The act of reading, and we've talked about this a lot, is like, for me, was not a newfound thing. Like, you always read when you're a kid, and then we all stop reading for some reason. I don't really know why. Everyone gets busy and we forget. And I feel like reading has been such a huge act of self-care for me. And even, I think I used to think, oh, you have to always read like super intellectual books. And then I found romantasy and I was like, wait a second, this is changing my life. So I'm glad I got to spread that to you too.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And again, thank you for being here with us today. But I think we want to do a really quick take back on how you started things. So I think everybody knows you as the face of Petit Moi. You're very closely identified with the brand.
Yeah.
But who were you before Petit Moi?
I think at that time when we first started Petit Moi, I was still working and I was in corporate and it's I was in specifically corporate treasury and fuel procurement. So it's very different from what I'm doing now, but somewhat related to what I was doing in uni, because I studied international business, finance, and economics. I really loved my job. I loved my team. I loved the company. I loved everything about it. But I guess fashion has also always been something that I liked.
Yeah.
So me and my sister-in-law, my other partner, we used to live in the UK. And at that time, we also both had our sons. And that opened up our eyes to, there's so many different children's wear choices there. And it ranges from like luxury to like all the luxury brands, or like Bompuan to like high street like Next or H&M.
Yeah.
So we really had a lot of fun dressing up our kids and shopping for them and taking pictures of them. So when we moved back to Malaysia, there's always talk about setting up a children's wear brand of our own. Also because living in Malaysia, I mean, I feel like we have the advantage of manufacturing.
Exactly.
We could do it with the same quality, but offer more competitive pricing.
Yeah.
So that's where our other partner, Pam, came in, because her family actually has background in manufacturing. So to start PM was actually very seamless for us, because it was literally, we already had the connections.
Right.
So we, instead of having to find our own manufacturers, we already had the relationship, and they were willing to do it for us at a lower quantity because there's a relationship already. Yeah.
And for those people that don't know, Petit Moi started off as a children's wear brand.
Yes. Yeah.
And how has your entrepreneurship journey like changed over time? Because I know very distinctly this one time Mili and I spoke to you, and we were saying like, oh my God, it seems like Petit Moi is just doing so well, and like this is crazy. You guys like are killing it. Like you're a cult brand, and you were like, wait. We've had a lot of hiccups along the way as well. And like my last business literally almost failed. And I think that
the original Petit Moi almost failed.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really interesting to learn a little bit more about that and kind of what you learned through that experience as well.
I think for us, so again, starting the business was relatively easy. But it was the execution after, or the doing, which I feel is the case for a lot of businesses as well. So we spent like about the first 2 years really understanding the market. So it was a lot of doing pop-ups and meeting with customers and understanding the buying trends in Malaysia, which we then discovered were very different from Europe. In Malaysia, I would say that people are a bit more price sensitive.
Yeah.
And it really matters. Like you really need to focus on your target market. Like for example, the earlier pop-ups that we were doing, in fact, the first pop-up that we did, nothing humbles you as much as like being excited to go and set up your booth. And we had like vans of clothes, and we brought all our family members to come take picture. And at that time, my sister-in-law, she was still breastfeeding her son, and like we brought the baby, and we were sitting at the booth, so excited. And we came back with not one single sale.
Wow.
There was a lot of interest, but people would be coming to the booth, looking at the quality and like gushing, and I really like the quality, I like the design, but I guess in comparison to like the other vendors, ours was like, they were about 10th of our price.
Wow.
So that was our first view into like, okay, maybe we need to look into like target markets and being a bit more specific where we do our pop-ups. And then also from doing the pop-ups, we started to speak a lot with customers, and we discovered that there was a lot of interest in the design, but they didn't necessarily have kids. So they actually wanted, So going back to our idea of children's wear as well. So when we were abroad, we really liked that the designs were essentially a bit like adult style, but made into like mini version and cuter.
I mean, we were just looking at your children's wear, and I'm like, wait, I want that top.
Yeah, so that's exactly what the potential customers that were coming to the booth were saying. Like, I don't have a child, but I would wear this if it was in adult size. So that was also good feedback for us at that time. And I think it's a moment of failure, but also because I feel ever since then there were so many moments of failure, like constantly. I think that was a pivotal moment for us because I was working full time still, and Petit Moi was my side hustle. So and I was working at the airport. So it takes about an hour to go back from the airport every day. And I'll always come back a bit later just to avoid the traffic. So our meetings would either be on weekends or 10 p.m. at night, 10 p.m. at night. So there was a lot of delays in decision making and doing everything basically. So it came to a point where we depleted the funds. So there were no funds at all. We had some stock, but not a lot because we've been pending production. And then at that time, one of my partner was managing the business, but she had to go further her studies. So we sat down and we said, okay, so what do we do now? There was no one to run the business.
There was no money.
Exactly. So should we hire? But then hire on what funds? And then also because it was at an infant stage. So if you were to bring in someone external to do it, it wouldn't be exactly the vision that we had for it. It would be different.
Right.
But then I still felt very passionate about the business, and so did my other partners. So I said, okay, then why don't I give it a run? So I'll quit my job and I'll try to do it. And after that, then we took in a lot of the feedbacks that we got from the pop-ups and everything, and just we experimented a lot. So we tried with women's clothing, and I think after that it was a lot of experimenting actually, trying things that we like and seeing if it actually appeals to the market. And appealing to the market is one thing, but does it actually translate into sales?
Right.
That's so interesting that I think you took such a leap of faith, basically, right? It's not like you're deciding to quit your job to join this thriving business that is booming. You're literally quitting a job that has a lot of stability. Obviously,
I agree with you, but I also feel then I should put a disclaimer at this point.
Yes.
Which is at that point of time we were still living with my parents. So I wouldn't give the same advice to everyone. So it's always you would have to look at your situation, right? So for me, it was the stability of living with my parents. So it was really just living off my savings, but I could save up so much more on other things. So it was a possibility for me. Did I get a lot of heat from it? I think with Asian parents, of course. But they were still, my parents are very supportive.
Yes. And I actually want to ask, you have an incredibly successful entrepreneurial family.
Yeah.
Did you feel yes, touch wood, you do. Did you feel that failure or the need to make it work was something that was I don't know, almost inherently part of who you were because of the way that you were brought up or because of the way that you saw, let's say, your dad build and run his business? Did that tenacity, I guess, come from the way that you were brought up? Or did you feel you had to prove something almost?
I feel for me, and I feel it's different among our siblings, because I feel with my brothers, since a young age, I feel they've always known that they want to be an entrepreneur. Because one of my brother, he actually started a business during his first year at uni, and he still has it until today. And with my other brother, he's dabbled in so many industries. So he's done beauty, he's done pharmaceutical, he's even done education, which I find so funny. But so I feel for them, it's always been about wanting to be an entrepreneur or wanting to start something. Whereas for me, I think it's more of where my passion lies or doing something that I feel very passionate about. For example, I actually wanted to do creative writing, going back to my love for reading. And my mom said to me, if you feel very passionate about creative writing, you would have started writing since you were young. Since you were younger, you would have already started submitting pieces to newspapers or to magazines, which I did not. So as always, my mom is right. So for this, it made sense for me because it was something that I feel very passionate about. And even at that point when I decided to quit my job, it was also because it's something that I feel I'm very passionate about. So why don't I give it another go?
And I think it's so nice that you do disclaim that you have been fortunate enough to be able to pursue a passion, which I think unfortunately not every single person can do that. But I think when you can and you're able to, like, there's so much power in that. And like, look at what you've built as a result of it.
Yeah.
truly.
And I also think like there's a part of you that's being a little bit humble as well. Like it's not necessarily that everything has come to you. I think, okay, there's this idea that, okay, Iman is a Nepo baby. She's gotten everything she's wanted. She always gets her way because of the way things have lined up in her family, maybe her background, right? But I think that something people get wrong is like, it's not that you haven't worked your ass off either, right? Yeah. I think that point of failure is hard no matter who you are. Like you have had to build a company from the ground up regardless. And I think that is a really big testament to like your tenacity and getting things done.
I think with regards to this, then maybe a pivotal moment for myself as an individual would be when I did take over PM and I was running it. But maybe I was still like la-di-da and just being like up in the air in the crowds when my dad had to really sit down with me. And not like sit down, because we always have like family discussions or anything, like everything is out in the open. So there's no reason for like, there's no shame basically, because everyone's dirty laundry is already aired out in the open. So for me specifically, he actually told me at that point of time, he didn't think that I had what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Because he said I was too scared to take risk. So I was very risk averse and I was too complacent. And then he went on a bit further to add that with the way that I'm living my life and the things that I like to travel, I like to buy all the unlimited books, to go to cafes. At the rate that I'm going, he said that he don't know how I'm going to support my life and even contribute, because I had a family also, it's like to contribute to my family. So he said, it's better if I just go back to a corporate, like a stable corporate job. Yeah. So I think for me, that was the moment where it hit me like, ouch, because it was embarrassing, but also because it was very true. So it was a lot of waking up for me, a lot of waking up that I had to do.
That's a lot of self-awareness.
Yeah,
that you
I was
need
just
to
going
have
to say that. To be like, ouch, but also like, okay, let me get myself together and make sure that I do make this work because I am so passionate about it.
I think one thing that really stands out to me about Petit Moi, and Mili and I talk about this a lot as well, is just like, it is a very unique brand. And I think that you might not see it from the inside because you're building it every day. But to me, I would say like a big part of the learning for us is like not necessarily finding your niche, but finding something that you're going to stay true to throughout. And I think for you, it's this like not only vibe of community, but like sort of the way that you built the clothing and the visual identity and like incorporating things like books and coffee and like having this sort of
very like romantic life.
Like romantic life has been like a key part of your brand universe. And I think that,
and it's very clear.
Am I a rom-com?
Yeah, no, actually you are building
Iman
your
is
rom-com.
actually working her way to then write her first rom-com and be like, Mom,
writing.
sorry.
How do you know I have not? It's just not seen the light of day. And it never will.
She's got manuscripts in the storage room.
Yes. One thing I do want to ask, actually, I'm realizing this is like the question my therapist asks me all the time. Well, what's been the hardest part about building Petit Moi?
I think for me, is I have anxiety. So I have like growing anxiety with the need to make sure that it all works out. So with every step, for example, like alhamdulillah, like we've had like little wins that have taken us further. But at the back of my mind, I'm always scared. Like I have to make sure that like the stakes are now higher. So I have to make sure that I keep my act together. And I think for me as well, because I mean, I have my family and I have the team, the Petit Moi team, and I want to be able to take care of everybody.
Yeah.
And also like with my parents, like my dad, he works hard and he's still working hard until today. I want to build something that can support everybody and for generations to come. So for me, there's always that lingering fear. And also like, I mean, if I'm not capable of doing it. So with every win, it's also like, is this the furthest that is this my capability? Yeah, is this the furthest my capability? Because I mean, there's always going to be somebody better than you, and there's always going to be amazing people. So I think it's also a lot of being aware that I might not be the best person now to continue this. It doesn't always have to go my way or
I think I wanted to touch on a little bit about your journey as a founder and like your mental health and how you've been able to sort of get through this journey, because it is a very difficult one. And I think this applies to anybody listening when they are going through difficult times, and it could be with your family, it could be through work, it could be through anything. Can you share a little bit more about how your mental health may have been impacted by this journey?
Well, the one that I remember would be, again, like going back to that pivotal moment. So it would be when I was still doing Petit Moi, but also had my day job. And I was getting constant headaches at that time, like nonstop. Like there wouldn't be a second that I didn't have a headache apart from when I was spinning. So at that time I went spinning a lot. But when I went spinning, somehow like the headache disappeared. So I went to the doctor. I was like, isn't it weird that I would get a headache when I'm like doing nothing, but then when I'm on the bike and it's actually like movements and my head is somehow okay. So I don't remember the medical term and everything at that time, but it had something to do with being under a lot of stress. So he started prescribing me on like a low volume of like antidepressant pills. So I had to take that for a while. And another like marker that I remember was I would be washing my hair, but my hair would never be dry. Like after washing my hair, and I mean, it's supposed to get dry, right? But it wouldn't. So my stress was actually translated into my physical being as well.
Wow. Whoa. So interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, the cycling helped a lot. I don't do it anymore. Now I should go back to that. But I remember, because if you've gone cycling, there's always like towards the end, there's one song where you're doing like meditation or like doing
like a
mindful.
cool down.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, okay, now go into yourself and think about what you want to do and like, how is this day? And I would always end up crying. So like I'll be on the bike like that in the studio.
But it's interesting how so many of us let it get to a point where there's such a physical trigger or a physical component of it that you let your headaches get to a point where, okay, I'm literally dealing with this every single day to the point where I'm no longer being able to perform, that now I need to go see a doctor. And we don't do it like almost preventatively.
Yeah, people avoid signs of stress.
Exactly.
Right? Like you think, okay, stress.
Sorry, a thought just ran to my head.
Go.
I wish you guys were around at that time. Like, why was there no moon at that period of time?
Well, we're here now.
But it's so interesting to me. Like, I think women in general, we often avoid signs that our body is giving us, and we don't really link them to things. So I think a lot of people that might get chronic headaches might not realize it's due to stress, or might not realize it's due to like hormonal changes, or actually like PMS can lead to headaches. Like there are so many things that we ignore because we're not really taught that there are physical symptoms of mental issues.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
speaking of this physical symptoms of mental issues, so I'm reading a book now because I've been trying to lose weight. Also partly because I went for my medical checkup and they recommended that I lose a bit of weight, cholesterol, everything basically.
All that nonsense.
Yeah, everything, yeah. But yeah, so the book that I was reading, it was talking about how you think that losing weight is like controlling what you eat, like controlling your diet, which it is part of it. But also it's like everything, it's your whole environment. So it's just not the food, it's your stress level, your sleep level. So it's really like, I would even go as far to say like with stress and sleep, they are the main items. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It literally, if you don't sleep enough and you are stressed, everything in your body is out of whack.
Yes.
It's just, it's so crazy.
And like scientifically, cortisol like which is the stress hormone, when that increases, there are many things that happen. Hair loss.
Yes.
Leading cause of a female hair loss today is cortisol, like stress. So ashwagandha, which is like a huge herb, we have it at Moom as well, is so important because for hair loss because of how it interacts with your cortisol levels.
So one of the things that I've been taking regularly now is Happy Hormones. Okay, so the reason why I'm taking it is because, again, I'm trying to not control my diet, but I'm trying to eat a bit more healthily. So the book says is to eat whole foods when you can, right?
Right.
And part of the reason why I want to do this is not just because of weight loss, but also because I've been very lethargic, and I've been doing I've been doing work, but it's just gotten a bit ridiculous, like how I don't have energy for anything anymore. So I've been taking it consistently, and like Happy Hormones actually makes me happy. like my energy is up and I feel so much better. And so Nicole, because I was telling Nicole about this as well.
Nicole is a lover of Happy Hormones.
Yeah. So I was telling her about so I'm trying to also be a bit more mindful about the food that I eat. And I've been taking Happy Hormones, and then she was saying that, oh yeah, that's going to help you with weight loss as well. Like if you take it regularly, something about the ingredients will also, so basically going back to the book, it also talks about how if you diet, then it sort of also triggers something in your body where, I need to preserve all the fat.
Yes.
Because I'm going into like starvation mode.
Right.
Yeah. So with being mindful of just like eating proper food, and also with like this insulin and hormone balance, then that would actually help you in the long run and help you keep the weight off as well.
Yeah, so essentially, well, first off, cortisol is basically your stress hormone that can spike. And when it spikes is also when you start feeling like super hungry, like it could be stress eating.
Like crave things.
You crave things.
This is me all the
like
time.
Sugar, and like me all the time as well. When you have hormonal imbalances like PCOS, or honestly, it could be any kind of hormonal imbalance, like it could be with your cortisol levels. It could be with androgen, estrogen. These are things that like affect women's health, men's health, like all of your basically hormones in general. It can lead to a lot of different like bodily issues, and like your body keeps the score. There's that whole book about that, and how essentially, quickly going back to the stress thing, like there are a lot of telltale signs in the body that we don't really think about that are actually related to stress. And Mili was talking about hair loss. When you ask people about hair loss and their stress levels, they're like, but I'm not really stressed right now. Like, why is my hair falling out? And it's actually, we learned this from one of our nutritionists that's on Moom. She was saying that like the effects of stress might happen later than you think they do. So for example, if I'm stressed 3 months ago, actually the hair cycle specifically is like in 3-month cycles. So if I'm stressed 3 months ago, like my hair could be falling out today from an event that was really stressful 3 months ago. So it's not necessarily that like, oh my God, I'm stressed today and my hair is falling out. Like that's not really how the body works. It takes time, and it also takes time for things to improve.
I do think just like eating whole foods and like the right kind of foods, and even like honestly just like cutting out a bit of sugar.
Yes.
Sugar is like, I don't know, I was reading this book about how like sugar has been equated to being like worse than alcohol for your body, and like it's genuinely so impactful to your body. But yeah, that it's interesting. We all eat sugar for energy, but it's actually the worst thing for our energy. And that's essentially what Happy Hormones is doing, is it's like helping balance out those insulin levels. And do you want to go a little bit more?
Yeah, but actually I was going to say you should
Yeah.
also take Metaboost, but we can come
you
back
should
to
take
Metaboost.
Metaboost.
I do.
Yes.
Okay.
So I've been taking Metaboost as well. I would say about a week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I've
you
been
got it.
so I took Happy Hormones before, but not consistently. So I wouldn't say every day. Now I've been taking it every day for about 2 weeks. That would
I
say.
literally have Happy Hormones in my matcha
Yeah,
right
same.
now.
We put it in our matcha.
It's like such a nice way of sweetening a matcha.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Or any drink.
Or any drink, yes.
But,
Anyways.
okay, so Happy Hormones it's a really simple formulation actually, and this gets a bit technical, so sorry to the listeners, but it is an inositol blend supplement. Inositol, not insulin.
That's what
inositol.
Nicole said as well.
Inositol is actually a naturally occurring sugar in the body. When you have a hormonal imbalance, you often get depleted of inositol. Your body produces inositol. in a ratio of like 40-1 myo-inositol, D-chiroinositol. So there's two different types of inositol that your body produces. If you're not taking it in this exact ratio of 40-1, there's no point in taking it because you're not mimicking what your body's producing. You're just like adding random things into your body. So the interesting thing is like you want to be very insulin resistant. So when insulin gets put in your body, you kind of want your body to be like, no, I don't want to like completely do this. I want to metabolize it and it's out. When you have a hormonal imbalance, that doesn't happen. That leads to weight gain. That also can lead to like low energy levels. That can also lead to other things. So what inositol and what Happy Hormones does is it can increase that resistance to insulin, which is insulin is basically like sugar. So essentially it's like helping you process sugar faster and like increasing your metabolism in that way. What Metaboost does is it actually like cuts a blood sugar spike. Okay. So another way that you get really tired is because if you're eating like a carb heavy meal or a sugar heavy meal, you're feeling really energetic in the moment that you eat it, but then you crash afterwards. Yeah. And then you're like, oh my God, I don't have energy to do work. I don't have energy to do anything. What Metaboost does is it reduces that spike by 40% in 60 minutes.
Okay. When do you recommend to eat Metaboost then?
Mili has a good hack.
So in an ideal world, you would eat it right before your most carbohydrate heavy meal of the day. I forget. So
I mean, same.
Like, let's be real. I forget to like carry it around with me and be like, oh, dinner is going to be my most carb heavy meal, so I will eat it then. Or like you don't plan what your most carb heavy meal is, right? I take it first thing in the morning. Okay. It sets the tone for like your meals every day. Again, this is not something that your body is like, you take it and you like pee it out or anything, right? Yeah. So it's in your body. It's going to be there the whole day. So I have it next to my coffee machine or matcha or whatever. And while I'm making that, I will take Metaboost. Okay. And it's best on an empty stomach as well. Okay. It's one of our only supplements that we say is really great on an empty stomach. That's the other one I was going
to ask. Should I eat breakfast first or
Metaboost, no need. Happy Hormones, it's better to take it after food.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a fun question. What do you think is one? Okay, well, I guess two questions. First off, what's your favorite piece in Petit Moi? But also, is there a piece that you love that hasn't done well? Like,
this is such an interesting question because I want to say the pieces that I love the most are not the best sellers. So I feel like my own personal taste
is different.
Yeah, or like maybe not different, but like as much as I like florals and like very feminine pieces, I like seeing them on people. I like designing them, and I really love when I see people wearing them. But sometimes I feel like I can't pull it off as much. And like if you see me on a daily basis, I'm really
not wearing florals.
Yeah.
Not only not wearing florals, I wouldn't go so far as to say not wearing clothes, but I would be wearing like, because I work from home, right? So it's like the most basic outfit. If I'm outside, I'm in our parkas. So I would say that's why you see so many colors of the parkas, because I want that.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's like a piece you've made out of selfish reasons?
The parka.
Okay. I think that's funny because I think Mili and I have at least one product that, you know, isn't maybe a bestseller that we're like going to keep forever because we use them.
I want to keep the parka forever.
Okay. Yeah. What is yours at Moom?
Yeah.
Probably Sleep Well. I think it's like one of our most underrated products.
I love Sleep
it's not available in Malaysia. Yeah. So I maybe should have thought of another product. But I do think our Sleep Well is really underrated, and it's an amazing product. It works so well, but it's definitely not one of our best sellers. No. Like, I wouldn't say it's one of our worst sellers, but it's not like, you know, a super popular product. I think another product for you is
mine is Crampless.
Yeah, exactly.
So Crampless is like, sometimes we think about removing the product. Yeah. It doesn't move as fast because you're only using it really during your period. Mm-hmm. But I kid you not, like my period cramps go away when I take Crampless. I was in Hong Kong 2 weeks ago for the launch, and it was me and another one of our team members, Michelle, and I woke up in the morning, and like 20 minutes after I woke up, I was getting the worst cramps I've ever gotten. And like I was curled up in a ball like this.
I was literally texting Maya about something and she's like, I can't talk right now. Like I can't move.
I am stuck. And Michelle was like, I've never seen you this way. I took 4 crampless. 15 minutes later, I was like, I'm ready for the day.
I'm so curious about crampless. So do you take it when you're going to have your cramps, or do you preempt and take it like a couple of days before your period?
So it depends on how good you are at tracking your period.
Okay.
I am so disorganized, so I never know when it's coming.
I run a women's health business, but I can't track my period.
No, literally, I don't track my period. It's really bad. I need to. And that is because I've never had a regular period in my life until the past like year and a half on Happy Hormones. And that still took me like 6 months of taking Happy Hormones before it became regular. So I never track my period, but if I did, I would take it 3 days before my period starts, like 2 a day. And then what I do is the week of my period, I usually take 4 to 6 capsules a day just in one go, because the ingredients are 100% natural. It's basically magnesium and like other ingredients. Cramp bark is one of them, which is hilarious. Like there's an actual flower named cramp bark that's good for period cramps. And it genuinely, like I don't get cramps when I take it. Okay. But if you think about it, like this is a little bit technical business stuff. Like I'm taking 4 to 6 capsules a day for a week at a time, and one bottle contains 60 capsules. So the product doesn't move very fast from a business standpoint.
Because it lasts, even people that are taking it every month, it lasts like 3 months, 4 months. Okay. So it's not probably, maybe we should remove it. But yeah, Maya loves it, so we don't remove it.
I feel like I might love it as well, because ever since I got kids, my cramps got really bad. Like really, it's like throbbing.
Yeah. Apparently it happens to a lot of women postpartum. Like after having children for like 5 to 7 years, I looked it up because I was like, how long does it last? Yeah. You get really bad cramps.
Yeah.
We should talk about this a bit. Like that's so, I find it very interesting because a lot of people that have never had PMS before give birth and then
so it's quite a common
We've
thing.
We've just heard it a lot, and like then we looked into it, and it apparently is a very big thing.
This was so interesting. I'm so glad we got to talk to you. We have a couple like little wrap up questions. Currently, what is something that is like really lighting you up? That's just getting you super excited for the day. It can be something that's exciting you today. It can be something that's exciting you this week that you're looking forward to. Any secrets you can share that's coming up for Petit Moi?
Yeah.
One thing that I am quite excited about, it would not be like might be actually within this 2 months, is we're expanding in Johor Bahru. So we have
a quick drive away from us.
Exactly. So
next stop Singapore.
Yeah.
So it's still gonna be within the same area, but we're expanding into like it's like a shop lot. But we're expanding into like 2 doors down, maybe from the one that we have currently, because the one that we currently have is on the first floor. And they don't have elevators there. So we're moving to the ground floor, and the whole building that we're going to have our warehouse there, and one of our sister brands, I don't know if you know Zora. So they're also on the first floor. So I'm quite excited about building that whole
Grand universe experience.
Yeah.
Because this podcast is Take Care with Moom, what is your one non-negotiable self-care, anything to take care of yourself?
I think going back to what I was talking to Mili about is I think now I'm being a bit more mindful and intentional with my time. So it's also a matter of not saying yes to everything. And I think at my age, like my priorities with my family, my team, my loved ones. So taking care of myself mentally, physically, emotionally, so that I can show up for them as well.
Yay, we love that. Well, thank you so much for being on this
so
podcast.
much.
Also, you have a lot to share.
I know.
So,
this was great. And thank you all for listening. Bye.